The alarm clock blared at 6 a.m., piercing the early morning silence. Daniel Gray, a creature of habit, reached over and silenced it with a practiced motion. It was Tuesday, January 7, 2025, a date that seemed unremarkable. A Tuesday that began just like any other, with the sun rising over the quiet suburban neighborhood. Daniel went through his usual morning routine, a series of actions performed almost on autopilot. Coffee, toast, the morning news, each step a familiar comfort. He was dressed for the office, crisp white shirt, blue tie, every detail meticulously in place. He was out the door by 7:30, briefcase in hand, ready to face another day at work. Daniel was a financial analyst, a numbers guy, someone who thrived on routine and precision. He was good at his job, reliable, always on time, and his meticulous nature made him a valuable asset to the firm. His colleagues at the firm could set their watches by him, knowing he would always be there. 8 a.m. sharp, every day, without fail. But this Tuesday was different, a deviation from the norm. 8 o'clock came and went, no Daniel. The minutes ticked by, and concern began to grow. 8:15, his boss, Mrs. Jenkins, frowned. Daniel was never late, and this was highly unusual. She tried his cell. It went straight to voicemail, a sign that something was amiss. A knot of worry began to form in her stomach, an unsettling feeling she couldn't shake. By 9 o'clock, with no word from Daniel, Mrs. Jenkins knew something was wrong. The office atmosphere grew tense. She contacted the police and reported him missing, hoping for answers but fearing the worst. Detective Sarah Evans received the missing person report. Daniel Gray, 35 years old, no history of mental illness, no known enemies. It didn't add up. She started with the basics, a visit to Daniel's apartment. His apartment was immaculate, just as you would expect from a man of routine. The bed was made, dishes washed, everything in its place. But there was no sign of a struggle, no forced entry, no indication of what might have happened. It was as if Daniel had simply vanished. Detective Evans turned her attention to Daniel's phone records. The last ping showed his phone was in Forest View Park, a sprawling green space on the edge of town. It was an unusual place for Daniel to be. He wasn't the outdoorsy type. A team was dispatched to search the park, hoping for any clue that might lead them to him. Forest View Park was vast, a labyrinth of trees and winding paths. The search party combed through the undergrowth, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Hours turned into days, but the search yielded nothing. No sign of Daniel, no trace of his belongings. Back at the station, Detective Evans was hitting dead ends. Daniel's financial records were clean, no unusual transactions. His social media was inactive. He was a ghost, leaving no footprints in the digital world. The case was quickly turning cold. The lack of evidence was frustrating. What had happened to Daniel Gray? Had he run away, choosing to disappear from his life? It seemed unlikely for a man of his nature. The more Detective Evans delved into the case, the more she felt like she was stumbling through a maze blindfolded. A glimmer of hope appeared 2 weeks later. A park ranger patrolling Forest View Park stumbled upon Daniel's briefcase discarded near the riverbank. It was empty, except for his phone and wallet neatly placed inside. The discovery was both promising and perplexing. Why would Daniel leave his belongings behind? Had he been planning to return? The phone and wallet were sent to forensics, hoping for fingerprints or any trace evidence that could lead them to the perpetrator. Detective Evans stared at the items laid out on the evidence table. The leather of the briefcase was scratched, as if it had been hastily discarded. The phone was dead, but there were no signs of damage. The wallet contained his driver's license, credit cards, and a single family photo. Section 5. The Money Trail. Forensic analysis of the phone and wallet proved fruitless. There were no usable fingerprints, no DNA, no clues to be found. Just when it seemed the case had hit another dead end, a new piece of information emerged. Daniel's bank records, initially overlooked, revealed a significant withdrawal. $5,000 in cash withdrawn from his account the morning he disappeared. The withdrawal raised more questions than answers. What did Daniel need the money for? Was he meeting someone? Was this a ransom demand gone wrong? Detective Evans had a hunch this was no ordinary disappearance. This was planned, calculated. The investigation took a new turn. The focus shifted from a missing person case to a possible abduction. Who would want to harm Daniel Gray? And why go through the trouble of making it look like a random disappearance? Section 6. Whispers in the Wind. Detective Evans began interviewing Daniel's colleagues again, this time with a different approach. She was looking for any sign of trouble, any indication of a secret life, anything that could point her in the right direction. That's when she caught wind of a rumor. Apparently Daniel had been acting strangely in the weeks leading up to his disappearance. He was more withdrawn, preoccupied, as if something was weighing heavily on his mind. He had been seen arguing with an unidentified man in the office parking lot just days before he vanished. The witness accounts were fragmented, whispers and speculation. No one could clearly describe the man or what the argument was about. But one thing was clear: Daniel was keeping secrets. Secrets that someone else might have been willing to kill for. Section 7. A face in the crowd. The investigation hit another snag. The team was already stretched thin and every setback felt like a punch to the gut. The security footage from the office parking lot was corrupted. The critical time frame during which Daniel was last seen was nothing but static and fuzz. It was as if someone had deliberately tampered with the evidence, adding another layer of mystery to the case. It was a frustrating setback, but Detective Evans refused to give up. She knew that every case had its challenges, and this one was no different. The stakes were high, and she was determined to see it through. She had a feeling they were close, that the truth was within reach. Her instincts had never failed her before, and she trusted them now more than ever. She decided to revisit the witness statements, hoping for any detail, no matter how small, that could help them identify the mysterious man. Every word, every gesture from the witnesses was scrutinized for hidden clues. One witness, a timid intern who worked late that night, remembered seeing a dark sedan speeding out of the parking lot around the time Daniel vanished. The intern's account was shaky, but it was the first real lead they had in days. It wasn't much, but it was a start. Detective Evans meticulously noted down every detail, knowing that even the smallest piece of information could be the key to cracking the case. Detective Evans put out an APB on the vehicle, hoping it would lead them to the missing puzzle piece. The team was on high alert, ready to act on any new information that came in. The case had gone cold, but with each passing day, they were getting closer to the truth, even if it was just a flicker in the distance. The city lights seemed to hold secrets of their own, and Detective Evans was determined to uncover them. Section 8. The Shadow of Doubt. Weeks turned into months, and the trail for Daniel Gray grew steadily colder. The once bustling investigation slowed to a crawl as leads dried up and hope began to wane. The $5,000 withdrawal remained unexplained. It was a significant amount, enough to raise eyebrows, but not enough to provide any concrete answers. The dark sedan was never located. It was as if it had vanished into thin air, leaving behind no trace, no clue, no hint of its destination. The unidentified man from the parking lot seemed to vanish into thin air. His presence was a ghostly reminder of the night Daniel disappeared. Detective Evans, though deeply invested in the case, had to admit defeat, at least for now. The weight of unsolved mysteries bore heavily on her shoulders. The case went cold, but not forgotten. It lingered in the back of everyone's mind, a puzzle with missing pieces. Daniel Gray's disappearance became another unsolved mystery, a chilling reminder that even in a world saturated with technology and surveillance, some secrets stay buried. The city moved on, but the shadows of doubt remained. The case was officially closed, but for Detective Evans it remained an open wound. The unanswered questions lingered, gnawing at her every thought. Who was the man in the parking lot? His identity was a mystery, a piece of the puzzle that refused to fit. What was the argument about? The heated exchange captured on camera only deepened the enigma. Where did the $5,000 go? The money trail led nowhere, adding another layer of confusion. And most importantly, where was Daniel Gray? His absence was a void that no amount of searching could fill. These questions haunted her dreams, a constant reminder of the case that got away. The shadow of doubt loomed large, refusing to fade. Section 9. A Family's Hope. Despite the lack of answers, Daniel's family clung to hope. His parents, their faces etched with worry, refused to believe he was gone. They held candlelight vigils, printed missing person flyers, and prayed for his safe return. Their hope was a beacon in the darkness, a testament to the enduring power of love and family. Though years may pass, the mystery of Daniel Gray's disappearance lingers. It serves as a stark reminder that even in a world that seems so connected, some stories remain unfinished, some questions unanswered. The truth is out there, somewhere, waiting to be uncovered. And until then, the hope for Daniel's safe return remains, a flicker in the darkness, refusing to be extinguished.